Well then, ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome back to the Just More Show. I am your host, your hostess with the mostest, as I like to say. Today, we are joined by one of our brand new acts, who we had to replace Lady Rage, unfortunately due to circumstances out of our control. Um, we now have one of, if not the best tribute acts of an incredible band here in the UK, Evanescence. We have Fallen, which is an incredible tribute act. We are looking forward to having them. We are today joined by one of the members. So thank you all ever so much for taking the time of your day to come and have a chat with me and answer some questions. Feel free to introduce yourself to everybody. And
Hello, my name's Kyle Newman. It probably won't come as a shock to people to know that I'm the kind of the not Amy Lee of the outfits. And very happy to be able to come in and fill some shoes with some Evanescence tribute work for this amazing Rockfest gig. We're coming in, the band itself, lockdown wasn't kind to us. And so I'm coming along initially on my own, and it's, which Eddie was happy with that. But it might be that I can kind of bring somebody else with me. We'll see. Everybody wants to see those Axeman solos, don't they, really? But yeah, I'm the kind of the not Amy Lee, I like to say, or the Imagine Amy, whatever you want to call it, the vocalist of Fallen.
Oh wow! So, like I said, thank you ever so much for spending the time, because I know that you have got a gig later on today.
Today, yeah.
So thank you ever so much for spending the time early on this morning. But yes, so as Kyle said, that our next event is, of course, our Roostars Rock Festival. It's one that you don't want to miss. We've got the likes of Ghost UK, tribute to Ghost. We've also now got the likes of Fallen. We've also got the likes of Static Attic, Neon Oracle, and Silly Peach all performing in one night. Make sure to get your tickets at Eventbrite right now. Go and get them before it's too late. But now we're going to get straight into the questions. So, Carl, the first question that I have for you is, when did you all decide to start the band? What was it that made you decide to start it all up?
Well, it wasn't me, actually. It was a fantastic guy called Keith, who was our original bass player. It was his brainchild. And you know how sometimes things are just meant to be, aren't they? It's fate. And I was singing with a covers band, so many years ago, and some girls came up to me and went, "Oh my God, you should sing Evanescence, you should sing Amy Lee." And I was like, "Who are they?" And of course, when I went and listened, it was really early on in Evanescence career, and I'd heard the songs, I just wasn't really familiar with Evanescence. So I thought, oh God, that sounds really interesting. And I kind of just looked, I thought, the covers band I was with was a lovely, lovely group of guys. They were all younger than me and going off and doing great things. So it kind of came to a natural conclusion. And I looked around and thought, I'm going to follow up this Evanescence thing and see if there's any tributes to it. And again, it's like fate. There was this one advert looking for an Evanescence tribute singer. So I rang Keith, had a great chat, set up an audition with him and auditions for other things. And then I promptly broke my leg. And I had to then ring round and cancel them all. So that's 11 years ago. I mean, proper break my leg. I was in a full cast. No way I could do anything. And that was in February. And then later on that year, of course, I'd forgotten all about it. I'd done a couple of little covers gigs with my leg in a brace and all this kind of thing. And then in the October, Keith rang and said, "I don't suppose you fancy coming along and giving it another go. It's not worked out with the young lady that they tried." And I was like, "Yes, please." You know, I'd had such a rubbish 6 months, and I was itching. And I just think it was fate, really. I was just so pleased to hear from him. Went along, And I'll be honest, I have done lots of nice singing, classical singing, covers gigs singing, all sorts of different things. Didn't know if I was up to the job, and we rehearsed for about 6 months. I still wasn't convinced until we did our first gig, and then for me it was just amazing. It was a fab first gig, and of course all the adrenaline and everything kicks in, and it made me sing well. There were a load of gothy girls in front of us in floods of tears, because at that point Evanescence hadn't gigged themselves for a very long time. There'd been no music for a long time, and I was like, girls, you're supposed to be enjoying it, and they were like, we just never thought we would hear this music live. And so that was it. I was hooked from that first gig. Then, of course, the rehearsals were a lot better because I really believed I could do it then. Because it is a big sing, and that's what attracts me to it. It's not just belting it out; it's gymnastic, really, vocally. So that's kind of how I got into the band. And Keith had already got together the band, if you like, and they were just looking for a singer when I came along.
Yeah, I mean, talk about fate, and then talk about bad luck. Going through all of that, then having to then breaking your leg, and you're like, oh, I can only sympathise. I can only sympathise because
Yeah,
we've all
yeah.
we've
I
all
mean,
had
you
we've all
can
had
make it up,
broken
really.
bones before. We've all had broken bones, or pulled muscles, etc. We've all been
Yeah.
through that before. It's not pretty. It's not nice, and you
No,
are in a cast for in between 3 to 8 months, maybe longer, and it's not nice when you're having to just sit there and
no. But in terms
twiddling
of
your thumbs. You're like, oh.
But if I'd have been able to go along to that audition, I'd have been in the February. I would have been so busy. I wouldn't have probably. I might not have been convinced it was for me. And by the time I heard back from Keith, all my other work had gone because I hadn't been able to work. I hadn't been able to do any other music work. So I was able to really think about doing this heavy rock band, which I had never done before. Never, ever, ever. So that's the real fateful bit. My brain was kind of like, well, I'll give it a go. I've got nothing else. And here I am meeting a new group of guys.
Wow, because like I said, that I to you before we started that, for the likes of myself and a lot of people here in my hometown that I know quite well, Evanescence was one of those bands that we listened to quite a lot of.
Yeah.
Especially growing up, they were one of the bands that we would listen to a lot of the songs, sing to our heart's content, like belt out. You're not just
And I
singing.
bet you still
You're
can.
you're screaming and shouting the lyrics. And trust me, you'll probably see me singing along
I hope so.
at the event. You'll probably either see me upstairs or you'll see me in a little corner, just sort of singing away.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so, because you kind of went on about what kind of brought you in towards the band, but I would like a little bit more of what gravitated you towards the band, or well, the tribute band, and what gravitated you towards Evanescence.
Again, I think because it's a bit different, isn't it? Female fronted, well, heavy rock, elements of metal. Some people call it metal. I'm not. I think it's heavy rock with maybe elements of metal. I mean, the all the guitar solos are just fantastic. For me, I think because of what had happened to me personally that year, I was just in my brain wide open to anything, and I don't know that I would have been initially when I first heard from Keith, but musically it was totally different to everything else I'd been doing, and I just was. I think again, I just was really, really open minded, and I went away and listened in a much. I concentrated much more on the album, not just listening to Bring Me to Life, My Mortal, and Going Under, but listening to other songs as well, and just thinking, and isolating out the vocal. And I am, all my work is singing. I'm even now, even more so than back then when I first met this band. All my work is singing and well-being. I work with all sorts of different demographics of people, but all about singing. And I'm really, really always interested in singing and what it does for you as a singee and as a listener, as a singer and as a singee, whatever you want to call it. And I just think I was just really open to it, and it was not a genre I was familiar with. Um, I'd grown up with my brother being a metal fan and going, because I was a little girl and he just made this kind of, just all this noise coming out of his room. So I had to kind of unpick that thinking a little bit as well. But I just think it was fate and timing. I was just really open to it because it's vocal gymnastics. There's elements of classical in there, which I do sing classically as well. And lockdown has made me really go back to that. So I'm really looking after my voice, because people often think that you're going to mime those bits or somehow not do them. But I just think, and then I also looked at the tribute scene and thought, I previously had thought, well, that's just daft. But now my thinking is totally the other way around, because a lot of people won't be able to see the music they want to go and see and hear for real. You can't go and see young Frank Sinatra, can you? You go and see a swing night, or if that's your thing. All of the above, really. And I think you've also got to be good. You cannot be rubbish, because the fans of someone like Amy Lee, she could stand up there and sing Bar Bar Black Sheep, and it would be amazing. So you've got to be really, really good to carry it off. And I feel that responsibility. You've got to give it to them, because they are the people that come to a tribute know that music, don't they? They know it inside out, and you've got to give it to them.
Yeah, because I think that's the whole point. Is when it comes to a tribute act, if you do sound a little bit, their own fans that have grown up, or have gone through their lives listening to their music and found a lot of love and appreciation for their music. And if they hear this other tribute act and they sound absolutely god awful, they're not going to be very happy, because they've got a lot of heartfelt memories, whatever kind of memories that they've got with this music, and which kind of leads into my next question, and that is they were a huge band, Evanescence, especially back in the early 2000s. How awesome is it that the music is still known and still loved so much still to this day?
I just think it's fantastic. That fan base is there. Evanescence are out touring again themselves. They did an amazing lockdown album called The Bitter Truth, which I personally feel kind of is like back to form, and that feel. If you haven't listened to it, I would go and listen to that. It's got some, because every band has to progress. Nobody can stay as they are. Amy Lee was like 2021, and she's now 40 something. So why would she not have grown and progressed herself? Band members have changed and things like that. But I really, really like that album. And they suffered a little bit from the second album syndrome. But again, the full Fallen repertoire that we do has elements from until lockdown, elements of all of the albums that were available, which is The Open Door, the self-titled Evanescence, and then in lockdown, coming out of lockdown, we recorded Wasted on You, which is from The Bitter Truth as well. And they are out there now. They're just releasing, it looks to me almost every day, or really new festivals they're at. They've toured with Within Temptation. They guested with Muse recently, or last year. I can't think now, but just really getting out there. They are still there. Amy Lee is still out there, writing new music, but recognizing the impact of the album Fallen, which is now 20. Is that going to make you feel older? So there's a new release of a new pack of Fallen come out again. I think she's even done the makeup for it.
Because that's absolutely bonkers. That they are still out and about. They're still touring. You would have thought that, especially for acts back then, they may not be performing, because a lot of them, especially back in late 90s to even early 2000s, a lot of them no
Yeah.
longer are no longer performing. That a lot of them aren't, or touring. They're not doing it as much, or they've completely stopped. So to hear that a band from way back when I was, uh, a child is still going and they're still performing and they're still doing well, that's absolutely,
Yeah.
it's amazing to hear. So when it comes to yourself performing, are you excited to perform in Barrow for the first time?
I am. It's a long way to come, and it's going to be. I won't lie. It's about 4 hours away from where I live in the Midlands, but that to me is so cool because I would not normally, I'm not going to come for a day trip to Barrow when it's 4 hours away. But this is what music gives you, isn't it? It gives you a different weekend. It gives, if you're involved in bands, you never get in this kind of scene. You're never going to make your millions by any stretch, and it just takes you to different places. It gets you to meet new people. I've been checking out the other bands on the listing, all
Oh, they're
that kind of
amazing.
thing. So no, that's just part of it, really. It just gives you, different experiences and more. So no, I've never been to Barrow, but I'm looking forward to it. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a first and not a one-off. But let's see. I hope so.
Because
Yeah,
like I said, every single person I've interviewed have all gone, it's a wee bit out the way, innit? Every
yeah,
single person has said the exact same thing. It's a bit away, innit? I went, well, yes, because we are. A lot of people don't really know about Barrow. They've never heard of Barrow. They don't know when someone goes, "Where are you from?" I go, "Barrow-in-Furness." They go, "Where's the Barrow? Where's Barrow? Like, what is Barrow?" And
yeah.
so I would always go, it's just above Blackpool on the northwest coast. We're about 3 hours away from Manchester. Yeah. We're as north as north can get. We're
Yeah.
higher
Do you know
north
what
than
though? This
Manchester.
is fate.
We're more
This is
northern than
fate
Manchester.
again, though, George. Because the next day, I've got a gig in Bolton.
Oh,
So
Bolton.
again, I might have thought twice, with Eddie saying come to Barrow, I'd be like, oh God, it's far. But actually, the next day I'm in Bolton, so it kind of it's all fate, isn't it? I am very excited. I've so missed this band. I'm in a really really good covers band and everything, so I get to go out and do that, and I do my my day work singing with people in the community and stuff like that. But without a doubt, the Evanescence repertoire is the most exciting sing I've ever done for me, for myself, without a doubt. And I am absolutely thrilled. I mean, I'm sorry that the whole band cannot come this time, but let's hope that they will. Like I said, lockdown was not kind to the band, and I really tried hard to let it go, and let the pilot light for it go out. But I keep getting messages, even now, I keep getting messages and inquiries, and I've not been able to cut my hair. Well, since the other changes are there are now a couple of other Evanescence tributes out there, going around the country having a great time, which is brilliant. And I personally am just really looking forward to an opportunity to sing this repertoire. I absolutely love it, love it, love it, love it. And in the what a great timing, 20 years of the Fallen album as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great that we managed to be able to bring you in, because that's the whole point of it. We want people that want to be there. We want people that want to perform and put on a show and entertain everybody. That's basically what we want. That is what we are after. Um, but when it comes
I'm
to
dusting off my teeth.
when it comes to yourself and when it comes to the band, where do you see yourselves in 5 years?
Not
Frozen.
know. I just think it depends a little bit on what Evanescence themselves, like yourself, people still want to hear. They want to hear that material, and it might be that it does gravitate to always being the Fallen album, but there are some absolute bangers on other albums as well. There's brilliant drum intro for What You Want, which is on the Evanescence album, and other ballads as well, which are just massively gymnastic off the other albums. I think as long as the fan base is there, there'll be a place for Evanescence tribute. I love the idea of being part of festivals and things like that. I do think that's really taken off, hasn't it, in the last few years? Tribute festivals where you can go and do a set. Because it can be a bit nichey. It's always been a hard gig to get on its own, but things have changed in the last 3-4 years, and I think that really opens it up for a tribute band for something like Evanescence, where you can do double headers. In fact, our last gig, we did a double header with a fantastic Muse band in the Midlands at the Robin 2. That was actually, I think we might have been one of the last bands to gig before the country closed.
Oh, wow.
And so I do think that there's going to be an opening for it, absolutely. And hopefully there'll always be people that want to do play bass and do guitar and do the amazing drum work that Will Hunt of Evanescence does for this tribute. Let's hope so. I've got a good group of guys together now. We're just not quite ready to come out as a group, but I have to say, when we walked in the studio, there were three of us. Fourth joined us slightly after, and I just thought I was blown away, really. I thought this is going to be a chance for me to even sing in a studio rehearsal and just get this out of my system and maybe put it to bed. But it was brilliant. God damn it. Yeah. So yeah, good crowd of guys. Again with the Will, and they're all the couple of them, they're in their 20s. That they weren't around in the early noughties when this material started, when Evanescence started. People are still finding Evanescence as new music, and of course lots of other music as well.
Yeah, because I'm in my late 20s. I'm 27, so I'll be 28 this year. So
Yeah.
I was born just around the time, which was as I would say that they would just started to get that notoriety to their name. That I think that was round about the time, because I think they started around, was it late 90s, and then it came.
2003 was when Fallen really came
Yeah,
out.
so
Yeah, so they kind
I grew
of
up around that
20
age,
or so.
where that music and their sound just exploded, and it was almost, you couldn't go anywhere without listening or hearing a bit of Evanescence. You would hear it in and about people's cars. You'd hear it in their houses, maybe even sometimes in supermarkets, etc. You'd hear their music everywhere. Um,
You still hear Bring Me to Life quite a bit, don't you? It's the one that it's the go-to
yes.
song.
Yes, that's the one that everybody's going to lose their absolute barnet for. Because everybody knows that song and everybody loves that song.
Yeah.
We all love it. My goodness. So when it comes to, venues, as you said, you've performed in many venues. What's one of the biggest venues that you performed in?
It's probably going to be outside, isn't it? That's where you kind of festival-y things as well. We went to Wrexham. We did the furthest we went to the Hard Rock Cafe in Glasgow. That was, again, wouldn't have chosen to spend the day going up to Glasgow just to go to the Hard Rock Cafe, but that's where this music took us. So we did stay over for that one. We went all the way down to Bournemouth. The Robin 2 in the Midlands, that was quite a nuts. I mean, they have all sorts going on there. That's a really nice venue. I haven't thought about it for a while. I suppose it's more about I think probably the Robin, kind of mid-size venues. We never, because it's a bit nichey, we would never have gone larger than that. I would love to have done. I think really just supporting all of those music venues around. I mean, through lockdown, it was heartbreaking to see some of them clearly could not make it through the lockdown and shutting down. but yeah, just supporting any music venue that was wanting to give us a go, really. But I do think from now it would be really great to kind of get together and do, because they Evanescence themselves, they fit in nicely with Corn. As I said earlier, they've done stuff with Muse, and so you could go like with Metallica tributes, all sorts of things really, because then you're getting double sets of fans, and you've got people there who might not necessarily have they might not necessarily have met, they're keen on, let's say, Metallica. They might not necessarily have gone to an Evanescence tribute, and then you get the opportunity to win them over, or whatever the other band is. My favourite comment was, I didn't want to come, actually, tonight. My wife made me come, but I wasn't an Evanescence fan, but I'm now a Fallen fan. That's my favourite comment
Yeah.
ever.
It,
Yeah.
it is amazing because I myself I do like videos on social media, etc.
Mm.
As the term is, content creator in a manner of sense. And when you have people that just come up to you, it's not just about people commenting on your video. When you're just out and about in public and they come up to you and they go, I wasn't always keen with YouTube or YouTubers or social media, but when I watched you, you changed my mind. Like, not all of
Yeah.
these social media people are the same. There are some people that are regular guys that enjoy making content, they make content to entertain people because that's what they like to
Yes.
do. They like to make people laugh, like to make people smile. You're one of them. You're one of the rare ones that I can watch, that I can enjoy. And it hits you and you go, well, thank you ever so much. I hope that you continue to enjoy the content, in a manner of sense. And I guess that's kind of the same for you as well when it comes to when you have
Yeah.
people that come up. You do feel it does make you feel a certain way because you're like, "Oh, thank you ever so much," because you love to perform.
Yeah.
You love to perform and you love to make people smile and have fun and dance, etc. So for people to come out, and go out their own way to come over and say those things to you, it must feel absolutely amazing.
It is amazing. I've had people coming up, and not just from that first gig. And you were saying about the size of venue. Actually, do you know what? It's not important at all. It's giving people music that maybe they can't afford big gig tickets. Evanescence themselves, at the time, Evanescence weren't gigging and hadn't gigged for a long time, and people were just, thank you, and I was like, no, thank you. We could have been stood here on our own. But that very first gig we did was a pub gig. I mean, it was a pub music venue gig, and and all the time that we were gigging live, it was just amazing. People wanted me to sign their arm and stuff like that. And you're like, you do know I'm not her, don't
Yeah,
you? But but that's the music element, isn't it?
yeah,
That's the music it gives it to me, it gives it to them, and it's just such an amazing. When people are like, I was so worried it was going to be rubbish, Kyle, but you've nailed it. Thank you. And you're like, why would I come out and not nail it for you?
mm,
It goes both ways, which we said earlier, didn't we? You've got to be good. You don't have to. I think with tribute, you've got to think carefully about what the word tribute means. There's a young lady where I live who's doing a tribute to Frankie Valli.
oh,
It's tribute to, and it's her most popular tribute because she adores that music. She's knocking it out of the park and doing a really good job. She's clearly not a fella. That's what tribute is. I do get people saying to me, and again, like these girls that came up to me years and years ago and said, "You should sound like Amy Lee. You should." And I was like, "Who's that?" You know, and here we are. So yeah, it's great if you've got an element of sound alike and everything. And obviously I can grow my hair and have dark hair and everything, but you've got to really want to give people this repertoire and this music and do a good job.
mm,
And when they come up to you and say thank you, then and you've done a good job, that's just brilliant. It really, really is. And let's hope there's some more to come.
absolutely, absolutely. So when it comes to, I've got a couple of questions left. So what song truly spoke to you? What song truly spoke to you in your life?
Ooh, an Evanescence song or any
Or
song?
just any song really, because that's what I like to ask. Is music is a beautiful thing. What you never
Wow,
know what song hits you. Like there are
you put me
completely
on the
different
spot
genres
now.
that hit me. So what song really spoke to you in your life?
There is a song that Annie Lennox did. I'm following my nose because it's where it's popped up in my head as soon as you said that. So without overthinking it, it's on the Diva album, and it's called Cold. The song
Ooh,
is called Cold,
I'll have to give that a
and
listen.
yeah, which you might think would be a maybe a little bit off-putting, but it's kind of come to me, run to me, do and be done with me, and her voice is cold, cold, and it's kind of, I just find it a really strong song. And the idea of cold being loving, I think, really took me aback,
Mm,
because we don't think of the cold as being a welcoming thing. That's the song that's, you'll have to go away and listen to it now. But I mean, it's Annie Lennox. I mean, she's still incredible now, but she's and her actual without belting everything out and being, she always had this kind of androgynous, maybe slightly aggressive look with Eurythmics.
yeah.
With the Diva album, it's just this incredible embracing of her femininity and everything. Yeah, that's the song that's popped into my head anyway.
Wow, because I like to ask that question and then add this question on top of it, which is,
Mm.
are there any other artists? Because as you said, you've got Evanescence that you kind of ended up really, really falling in love with over the years. But is there any other artists out there that really spoke to you or inspired you over the years?
Oh yeah, Elizabeth Fraser, without a doubt. Elizabeth Fraser, are you familiar with her?
I am not,
You,
I'm afraid. You'll have to
you
send me some of the stuff, and I'll have
No,
to.
no, I promise you will know her voice.
Probably will do because
No,
I'm
you
bad with
will
names.
absolutely have heard Elizabeth Fraser. She is the singer and part of the Cocteau Twins, but she's also worked with Massive Attack. She's the voice of Teardrop, and which is love, love is a verb, love is a doing word.
Probably. Sounds
So
sounds
that's
sounds
Massive
like
Attack.
something I've heard, but
You will have
my,
heard
my
that.
my memory is really really bad.
You're
So,
too young, Jordan. That's all.
but I'm
And
quite an old soul. I listen to a lot of old school
yeah,
music. So when I've heard that, I go, it sounds like I've heard it before. It sounds like
yes, you would
something
have
I have.
done. It's
So
been
I'm
used
sort
on
of sat here
various
going,
adverts.
oh. So I'll
Yeah,
probably go and find it, listen to it. I go, that's it.
yeah. But from a very young woman, Elizabeth Fraser, she almost looks painfully shy when she's singing, but she is so in tune with her own voice. She made up her own language, really, her own language of sounds and what have you. And so, even though she might have been shy and what have you, and she might say different, I don't know, but that's certainly the impression that she gives. I don't want to sing like her, but I'm always aiming to sing with the freedom that she sings with.
Wow.
Freedom, because as we get older, we get baggage through our lives, don't we? And it
Oh yes.
affects your voice. You get tension and everything, all that stuff affects your voice. And she sings with freedom. You couldn't sing the way she does without being freed up.
Oh
So
no.
she, in that respect, yeah, big voices, people like Annie Lennox. Um, just trying to think. And then because I've been in Fallen, I've looked at a whole range of singers I probably would not have done otherwise. I absolutely wouldn't have done, which is, it's really, so whilst you're remembering Evanescence like boinging onto the scene in the early 90s, so whilst Amy Lee was one of those first female fronted like rock, metal,
Yeah.
they weren't the first, but they were probably the biggest,
Yeah.
maybe from America. But the European scene for female fronted metal is just astonishing. And the voice is there, within Temptation. The singer they've got at the minute, I mean, I think she's on maternity leave at the minute, Fleur. It's just, you're just like, oh my God, it's these incredible voices that come out of European female fronted metal scene. So whilst I don't, I'm not I don't spend all day listening to them. I'm full when I do hear them. I'm just full of admiration. Lizzie Hale as well from Hailstorm, just bonkers. Yeah, amazing vocals.
I mean, that's pretty much all I have for you, Kyle. Thank you ever so much for taking the time out of your early morning to come over and have a chat with me. But that is everything that I have for you because this is literally about to end because my uh, prime for
Okay,
whatever
thank you for
whatever
having
this
me.
is for Zoom. It's literally got about a minute left or so. But thank you ever so much for taking the time out of your day to come over and have a chat with me. Ladies and gents, this is Carl Newman. You'll see her on April 26th this year, not next year,
Looking forward
this
to
year.
it.
It's this year at the Cloud9 here in Barrow-in-Furness. You don't want to miss it. This will be a part of the Rue Stars Rock Festival. Don't miss out on this. Get your tickets
And
now. Go to
support it, folks.
Eventbrite. The link to the tickets will be in the description for you all. This is going to be one that you don't want to miss. We're looking forward to the event. We hope you are too. We'll see you all then and there. God bless you all. Take care and good night.